When my son asked about the winter vacation that I had paid $25,000 for the whole family, my mother smiled and said, "We already went, honey. Only your aunt's kids this time." I nodded. A month later, when she texted, "Did you cover the mortgage yet?" I replied, "Maybe your golden child can pay it." My name is Emmett. I'm 35, a realtor, the responsible one in my family. I track closings on a whiteboard, keep my car clean for showings, and can guess a listing price within 5 grand just by walking the block. I'm also a dad. My son, Max, is 8 and collects hotel key cards like trading cards. That night we were at my place. Pizza on paper plates, a Lego set half built on the coffee table. When he looked up with sauce on his cheek and said, "Dad, when is the winter vacation you paid for?" Grandma said it's the fancy one with the snow hotel. Before I could answer, my mother, who was there to drop off cookies, gave him that sweet smile she saves for other people's kids and said, "We already went, honey. Only your aunt's kids this time." Max blinked, but Dad paid. I heard my own voice come out calm and flat, the way voices get when the ground moves. "Mom," she shrugged, like we were discussing parking. "They needed it more. Your schedule's always busy. You miss things. We went when we could go." Max stared at me. I tried to smile like this was normal life. It felt like stepping into an empty house where the listing photos lied. The silence hummed between the fridge and the TV. My mother sniffed. "Anyway, the kids had a blast. We can plan something for spring, Emmett, if you're not slammed." Max's lips pressed thin. He went back to his Lego pieces without looking at either of us. I nodded once. "Right." A month later, my phone pinged while I waited for an inspector to finish a crawl space. It was a text from my mother. "Did you cover the mortgage yet?" I typed before I could stop myself. "Maybe your golden child can pay it." I stared at the blue bubble and didn't delete it. For the first time in years, I let it sit there. Delivered. Read. And I braced for the storm I should have started long ago. I became the financial grown-up by accident. It started simple. A $200 utility bill here. A "can you float the groceries there?" My sister, Tessa, is 2 years younger, permanently between jobs, and somehow never in the same room as a bill. My mother is a retired nurse who treats guilt like currency. My father is quiet, which in our house meant he agreed with the loudest person. When I got my license and started in real estate, I was still living in a studio with a Murphy bed. My first closing was a condo over a nail salon. I stored my suits in the coat closet and cried a little at the commission check. Mom hugged me and said, "See, you're finally reliable." She didn't mean it kindly. Reliable meant reachable. Reachable meant payable. It added up slowly. Tessa's car insurance, just until next quarter. A fridge repair for my parents after Dad's friend, who knew a guy, vanished. I told myself I was investing in peace. Every month I thought, once this is handled, they'll leave me alone, like the market would correct the family dynamic. The opposite happened. When people know you will catch them, they jump with their eyes closed. Then Max was born. His mom, Claire, and I split when he was 5, mostly because I was never not working. Open houses, late calls, deals that almost died on a Sunday night, resurrections on Monday morning. We're good co-parents. We trade pickups, share school events, send each other photos of his lopsided art. Max became my anchor, the thing that made the grind make sense. My mother liked to say, "You wouldn't have to work so much if you'd chosen a stable job." I'd look at the spreadsheet of closings and think, I'm the only stability we have. 2 summers ago, the asks turned into expectations. I helped Tessa with a lease deposit after she moved into a nicer apartment for her mental health. I paid off a small hospital bill for Dad's knee. I caught the tail of their property taxes when they misread the due date. It would have been manageable if it stopped there. It never does. The winter trip was my idea originally. After a decent year, 3 mid-range houses, and a lucky dual agency condo, I wanted to do something for Max and to prove to myself I wasn't just a bank account. A snow hotel in Colorado. Sleigh ride. Snow tubing. Those hot chocolate towers Max watched on YouTube. I priced it, gulped, and still clicked book. Tickets for me, Max, Mom, Dad, Tessa, and Tessa's twins. 6 nights. Ski lessons. A suite with a view so ridiculous it felt fake. $25,000. Taxes and fees included. I paid the deposit in October, the rest in November. I screenshotted the confirmation and dropped it in the family chat with a stupid grinning emoji. Mom responded with 3 thumbs up and, "We'll see." I should have known. December turned into a mess of reschedules. Dad's PT moved. The twins have a play. Tessa's boyfriend's cousin is visiting. Every delay clipped another day off the window we had. I tried to rebook flights, shifted dates, paid change fees that made my stomach flip. Then one Tuesday, Mom said, "We'll just go without you and Max for now and do a second round later." Like it was a ride in shifts, like my son and I were extra baggage. I didn't even know they left until Tessa posted a boomerang of the twins falling into snow with the caption, "Andy Trip." The hotel chandelier I had stared at online sparkled behind them. I sat in my car outside a showing and watched story after story. Dad smiling on a sleigh, Mom in a white robe, Tessa's kids with chocolate mustaches. I called. No one picked up. Later, Mom texted, "You're overreacting. We had to use the dates before they expired." When they got back, she gave me fridge magnets shaped like skis and said, "The boys were heavenly. You know, Max can be a lot." She always did that. Press a bruise and call it help. I told myself to swallow it, to focus on Max. We built a snow fort from gas station ice bags and called it our hotel. He thought it was hilarious. I sat in the little blue light and decided I was done paying for people who thought my son was an optional extra. Then came the mortgage text. I'd been covering the difference on their house for over a year. They were short $400 here, $800 there. Mom called it family synergy, which is how people rename debt when they want someone else to hold it. But the winter trip changed the math. They didn't just use my money. They used it to exclude my kid. That wasn't synergy. That was theft dressed as tradition. When I sent the golden child text, Mom called within 10 seconds. "Excuse me," she said. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," I said, "ask Tessa." "She's struggling," Mom hissed. "She's a mother." "So am I said. "Just to a smaller person." Dad texted, "Let's talk later." He always texted that when he meant, "Let your mother win." That week, Tessa wrote in the family chat, "Wow, Emmett, do you want a medal? Maybe learn to share." I didn't respond. I pulled bank PDFs. I made a folder with 12 months of transfers, Zelle screenshots, Venmo jokes like rent fairy dust, airline confirmations, the hotel invoice with my last name bold at the top. I added the property tax stubs, the plumber's invoice I paid when Dad clogged the downstairs toilet with paper towels and pride. I wasn't sure what I'd do with it yet, but the file looked like a person finally getting ready. It happened at my parents' place on a Sunday. We still did dinners every couple of weeks because Max loves his grandparents, and I didn't want him to keep losing pieces of family. I told myself I'd go, drop Max, and keep it civil. Mom greeted us with, "Take your shoes off." The carpet was just cleaned, the way she always did. Tessa was already at the table, scrolling. The twins tore around the kitchen island. Dad stood at the stove stirring sauce that came from a jar. We sat. Mom poured wine for herself and water for me. She always did that too. 20 minutes in, after the twins had declared the garlic bread mid and Max had tried to trade peas for a bread end, Mom set her glass down with a soft clink and said, "So, Emmett, about the mortgage. I told the bank you'd send something tomorrow." Tessa didn't look up. "Yeah, and Venmo me for the girls' gymnastics. You said you'd help with activities instead of cash." My chest went warm like anger turns your blood into tea. "I didn't say that." Mom flashed the smile she uses on receptionists. "You implied it. Anyway, we can't have late fees. Be a dear." I pulled my phone out. Not to pay. To airdrop. I sent the folder to everyone at the table. Their phones chimed. The twins yelled, "Memes?" I said, "Open it." Tessa groaned. "You're so dramatic." Mom sighed, tapped. The screen lit her face blue. Line after line of my name, my bank, my notes. Dad's knee MRI $620. Property tax October $1,143. Plumber $289. Colorado total $25,041.73. Tessa's mouth twisted. "You keep receipts like you're a landlord." "I'm a realtor," I said. "I keep records." Dad scrolled, then put his phone down like it was hot. "We don't need to do this at dinner." "We do," I said. My voice was even. I had rehearsed in my head for weeks. "Here are the facts. I've covered your mortgage for the last 13 months. I paid for a family vacation that I didn't attend. My son was excluded from a trip I funded. Then you asked me, again, to cover your house." Mom lifted her chin. "We didn't exclude him. It just worked out that way." Max's fork scraped his plate. He was very quiet. I looked at him, then back at her. "I'm done." Tessa laughed. "Okay, tough guy." I kept going. "Starting today, I am not paying for Tessa's bills, the house, or activities. If you need help, you can ask. I might say yes, but there is no more automatic anything. And the next time you take a trip I paid for, invite my son or don't go." Mom's eyes went sharp. "You ungrateful. After all we've done for you." "What have you done for me?" I asked. "Not cruel. Curious. List it. Not love. Love is free. Money. Practical help. Times you showed up. She slammed her palm on the table. The fork jumped. We raised you. You also raised Tessa, I said. Somehow, I became the parent. Tessa crossed her arms. You're punishing me for not being you. I'm setting boundaries because you're using me, I said. Mom switched tactics instantly. What will happen to us if you stop? Do you want us to lose the house? Do you want your father's health to suffer? Do you want your nephew and niece to quit sports? The triple shot. Fear, guilt, responsibility. I breathed in slow. You are adults. You will figure it out. And if you can't, we'll make a plan together. But it won't be funded by ambush. Dad finally spoke in a low voice. Emmett, don't talk to your mother like that. I turned to him. Say something to protect me, then. Silence. Clock tick. Sauce bubbled. Max cleared his throat. Tiny, brave. Grandma, I wanted to ride the sleigh. Mom's face flickered. Just a second. Then it smoothed. We'll do something local, she said. Cheaper. I stood. Dinner was nice. We're going. I picked up our coats. Max stood too, looking at me like he was measuring how safe the floor was. Tessa scoffed. So that's it. You play accountant and storm out. I looked at her. Pay your own rent this month. Then to Mom. And tell the bank you were wrong. Mom's last line, thrown like a plate. If you walk out, don't come back asking for forgiveness. I opened the door. I'm not asking for anything. The first week felt like quitting caffeine. Headache. Muscle memory reaching for my wallet when my phone buzzed. I muted the family chat. I took Max sledding on a hill behind the middle school and bought him a hot chocolate so big it needed 2 lids. He asked, Are you mad at Grandma? I told him, I'm mad at some of her choices. I love her. I love you more than any trip. More than the Snow Hotel? He asked. More than all the hotels, I said. On day 9, I got a text from Dad. Your mother is upset. Can we talk? I offered coffee, neutral ground. He didn't show. He sent another text an hour later. Things are complicated. That was his favorite phrase. Complicated as in, I will not oppose your mother. Tessa went loud on social. A screenshot made its way to me. Some people love money more than family. There was a comment thread involving 3 of her friends, a cousin I haven't seen in 5 years, and a yoga instructor with opinions on energetic exchanges. I didn't respond. The older I get, the more grace looks like silence. But boundaries do not mean passivity. I did practical things. I called the bank and took my name off authorized payer on my parents' mortgage. I switched auto pay off on Tessa's utilities. I put a password on my Zelle and removed my cards from their rideshare accounts. I told our group chat that any future requests for money had to be in writing with what they needed, by when, and how it would be paid back. Mom wrote, You're ridiculous. Then, 5 minutes later, we need $600 by Friday. I wrote back, No, the sky did not fall. My mother tried the next angle, relatives. Aunt Carla called, acted cheerful, then said, Your mom is under so much stress. Could you just help this once? I asked if my mom told her about the $25,000 trip in the last 13 months. Aunt Carla stuttered, said she didn't know all that. The call slowed. 2 Saturdays in, I took Max to my open house. It was a tidy 3-bed with a breakfast nook that made him say, This is where pancakes live. Between visitors, he built a Lego fire truck under the staging plant. He looked up at me and said, Dad, are we poor now? I crouched down and said, No, buddy, we're fine. We're just not paying for other people's stuff anymore. He nodded like that was a rule he could tape to the wall. There were still tremors. My mother posted a photo of the twins in matching parkas with a caption about family first. I recognized the parkas. I'd bought those too. Tessa sent me a long text at midnight. You've ruined everything. I can't believe you'd do this to us. The girls are crying. I wrote back 3 lines. I didn't ruin anything. I stopped funding your lifestyle. The girls are crying because you're using them as shields. A week later, Dad called again, this time actually showing up to the coffee shop, wearing his I'm reasonable flannel. He sat across from me, hands around a cup he didn't drink. Your mother is scared, he said. She says you're cruel. I'm tired, I said. That's different. He stared at the phone. We might have to sell the house. Okay, I said. Relief flashed across his face, like the permission to say it was the scary part. We talked numbers. As a realtor, I knew their equity, the comps, the timeline. If they listed in spring, they'd walk away with enough to get a smaller place with lower payments. He called selling failure. I reframed it as strategy. For the first time in years, our conversation felt like 2 adults planning, not a parent wringing out a child's pockets. He left saying he'd discuss it with Mom. I didn't hold my breath. When people can't pull money from you, they try to pull it from your reputation. Mom told cousins I was unstable. She told the neighbor I was obsessed with money. She didn't mention hers. A small handful of people reached out to say they were proud of me. My cousin Dylan texted, "Took me 3 years to get brave. You did it faster." He told me he'd been funding his dad's gambling debt out of love. He stopped last month and said night felt different now. We met for wings and didn't mention anyone's mother. Then came the group chat implosion. Tessa dropped a voice note that ran for 3 minutes and included the words selfish, abandoning, and dad's blood pressure. Mom replied with a screenshot of a past transfer from me with "thank you" in the memo, as if gratitude canceled the ask. I typed a message I thought about for an hour, then hit send. I'm not your ATM. I'm not your emergency plan. I'm not your punishment for Tessa's choices. I'm your son, and I'm Max's dad. My responsibility is to him, my home, and my own future. If you need help, you can ask with respect, specifics, and a plan to repay. If you exclude my child from anything I fund again, we're done for a long time. I attached the folder again. Then I left the chat. 2 days later, Aunt Carla messaged me privately. "Your mom is furious, but your dad asked for a realtor's opinion on downsizing. He said he felt lighter." I said I'd help if he asked me directly. He did, quietly. He came to my office with a yellow notepad and a list of neighborhoods. We ran numbers. His shoulders dropped an inch when he saw a path that didn't involve begging me. Max felt the shift too. Our nights got quieter. We started a new thing. Every Friday, we cook something badly on purpose and see if it's still edible. Burnt quesadillas, chaotic pancakes, one truly awful soup. We laughed a lot. Joy felt bigger without the constant hum of pending requests. A small miracle happened around week 5. Tessa texted, not a demand, but a question. "How do I make a budget?" I sent her a simple sheet. Income, fixed expenses, variable, sinking funds. She wrote, "That's too many boxes." I said, "That's how adults avoid panic." She ghosted me for 2 days, then sent a photo of a legal pad with numbers and the caption, "I can't afford the gym." I wrote, "Walk outside." She replied with an eye roll emoji, but then posted a selfie on a trail the next morning. Mom didn't thaw. She sent one last arrow. Family helps family. I typed, "Family respects family." Then I stopped responding to anything that wasn't logistics for seeing Max. Dad and I listed their house in April. I didn't take a full commission. He tried to insist. I said, "Keep it. You'll need furniture that fits the new place." We held an open house where a young couple fell in love with the too big living room and the ridiculous entry chandelier Mom had bullied Dad into buying in 2009. It sold in 5 days. Mom didn't show up to sign. She signed remote and sent me a single line. "You've destroyed my home." I watched Dad walk through the empty rooms one last time. He touched the doorway where our heights were marked in pencil. He said, "It was never the house." I said, "I know." We moved them into a smaller ranch near the park. No stairs for his knee. Lower utilities. No chandelier. Mom sulked for 2 weeks, then rearranged the living room twice and pretended she meant it all along. I took Max on a spring trip with just us. Not a snow hotel. A cheap cabin by a lake where the Wi-Fi was bad on purpose. We caught one fish, ate it like it was an award, and fell asleep smelling like wood smoke. He said, "This is better." On the drive home, my phone, in the cup holder, buzzed twice. "Tessa, paid my own rent today." Then, 5 minutes later, "Mom, when do we see Max?" I looked at the trees flashing by and felt something in my chest unclench. I said, "Sunday at noon. Pancakes live at my house." Summer came, the kind that sticks to your skin. I kept working. 2 listings, a stubborn buyer, a roof negotiation that made me swear under my breath, but the hum in my head had changed. The "what if they text" channel was quieter. I noticed I slept deeper. Even my coffee tasted less like defense and more like coffee. Boundaries didn't make my mother nicer. They didn't turn Tessa industrious overnight. They didn't solve old wounds. What they did was stop the bleeding. They gave me enough breathing room to be a dad without a calculator always open behind my eyes. One afternoon, Max and I were at the park by my parents' new place. Mom arrived with a Tupperware of brownies and a look that said she was trying. She sat beside me on the bench and watched Max and the twins build a lopsided sandcastle. She cleared her throat. "I shouldn't have said that thing about him being a lot." She said it like the words had to fight their way out. I kept my tone even. "He heard you." "I know." Her voice dropped. I was angry. About the house. About getting older. About, I don't know. She waved a hand. "You've always been so capable. I thought you'd just keep stepping in." She looked at me then, really looked. I didn't realize I was stepping on you. It wasn't an apology the way I'd fantasized, no dramatic confession, no handwritten letter with underlines. But it was something human. I nodded. I won't keep stepping in. Not like that. She swallowed. I get it. A beat. Can I still ask for help sometimes? You can ask, I said. And I can say yes or no. The sun slid a little lower. Max shouted my name like it was a joke. The twins tried to bury his foot, and he let them. Normal, priceless noise. That night, after drop-off, I reopened the Colorado folder for the last time. I scrolled the receipts without rage. They were just pixels now. Evidence of who I was, and who I'm not anymore. I dragged the folder into archive. I kept one thing. A photo of the cabin by the lake with Max's tiny grin in the corner. I printed it and stuck it to the fridge with the ski magnet Mom gave me. It looked different next to something I chose for myself. People talk about revenge, about winning. This wasn't that. There was no moment where I made a speech and everyone clapped. There was only the quiet work of saying no again and again, until no made space for yes to the right things. A week later, my phone buzzed. Mom, do you want to bring Max by for popsicles? We got the kind with the joke sticks. Tessa sent a photo of a budget on her fridge with 3 check marks and the caption, "Don't make fun of me." Dad texted me a link to a lawnmower he found on sale and asked if it was a decent brand. I answered each message in turn. Popsicles, yes. Budget, proud of you. Mower, reliable enough. On a slow Sunday, Max asked about Christmas. Are we going with Grandma and the twins this time? He said, cautious. I said, we're going wherever we want. And if we go with them, it'll be because they invited us, not because we paid. He nodded. Good. He dug around in the drawer and pulled out the magnet. He stuck it lower, at his height. This can be our reminder, he said. What's the reminder? I asked. He grinned, the way kids grin when they've decided something big with small words. We pay for us. I laughed, pulled him close, and felt that click inside. The sound of a door closing properly for the first time in years. No anger left. No bargaining. Just a line on the floor and both feet finally on my side of it. If there's a moral, it's this. Generosity without boundaries is self-harm dressed as virtue. Family doesn't get to weaponize love to access your wallet. No is not betrayal. It's building a life where the people you're responsible for, your kid, your home, your own tired heart, are safe. My mother texted last night, proud of you for selling the house so fast. Even if I hated it. I wrote back, proud of me too. It wasn't snark. It was the truth. And when she added, do you need anything? I smiled at the new shape of that question and typed, no, I'm good.